One thing that you said that I kind of want to pivot on to the next question, you talked about the spirituality of it. And
Yes.
as we know, there's always been this great divide between gospel and blues. So let's dig into it. Let's dig into it. On in terms of what we know coming out of the Black church and the experiences and everything, and even the different movements that has happened, the civil rights movement that was fueled by the Black church and different things like that. Let's talk about and make the comparison between, even though they called the blues the devil's music, but let's make the comparison and connect the dots in terms of gospel and blues for our community.
Ooh, that way
I
it goes
told you, I
back. It
told
goes. That's a deep one. Okay, now so let's talk about it because the first thing is if anybody wants to go back, you have to go back to the history of gospel music.
you.
And the father of gospel music is Thomas A. Dorsey,
Right.
who, if anybody knows their history, used to be Georgia Tom.
Yep.
And Georgia Tom was a blues man back in the
Hmm.
day. And, with his vision, he wanted to essentially take that music that one, it sounds good, it moves you, and he
Right.
wanted to take it but take it to a further level and use it for the church and use it
Right.
for music to help uplift our communities.
Correct.
And the blues has always told a story. The blues has come out of pain and it came out of hardship. We blues people today, I think, talk a lot about how the blues isn't always sad music, and we try to get away from that characteristic, but we can't ignore the fact that the blues did come out of hardship.
Yes, it is.
And gospel, and when blues migrated up north, especially because Thomas A. Dorsey, that was here in Chicago.
Hmm.
When you think about how blues migrated up north and when you had gospel music to me was like that was the evolution of blues, jazz, and soul music. And what it said gospel music was our way of saying we had our blues, but now we want to go up higher. And
Right.
how do we push forward? And in some ways people try to separate and divide gospel and blues, but I'm like, when you're in the church and you say I need Jesus, let me tell you something. In the club, I just change those lyrics and say I need my baby today, and
Hello. Hello.
it's the same. It's going to connect with you the same way. The
Yes,
music
it
is still going
is.
to move you the same way,
Right.
but the words are just different. And God, blues. You think about those folks who came up from the South. When I think of Coco Taylor, who talks about how she got on a Greyhound bus with her husband with a box of Ritz crackers and 35 cents to her name from Memphis, coming up to Chicago, and when she talks about how I spent a lot of days on my knees and I wasn't praying, I was scrubbing floors.
Hmm.
These are people that came up for opportunity and they came up to get away from the South.
Right.
And what we've seen is, as if you look at some of the music from like Coco Taylor, I like to use her as example. One of her producers is Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson was her studio producer. He's a big guy in the gospel scene though too. And if you ever listen to Coco talk, it just took me a long time to figure this out. And I don't know how I didn't connect the dots. Coco used to always say, "My blues is not meant to bring you down. My blues is meant to uplift you and
And she
bring you
did.
up."
She did say that.
And when you listen to her music, if you take her vocals off of some of those records, you might think you listen to some quartet gospel music for a minute. And
That's
I'm like,
real. That's
wow.
real.
But it's the same. And it was this idea of, I think Coco got it, and a lot of blues people got it. We want to be able to kind of connect with you and where you are hurt,
Hmm.
but then let's uplift you and
Yeah.
let's figure out how to uplift you.
Because we don't want to stay down too long.
Thank you. Thank you. And then what